Hi, Rachel Bilson.
Hello. Welcome to the OC Bitches, everybody.
Welcome to the OC Bitches.
How's your day going, Mindy?
It's good. It's good. I had a good morning. Do you have a morning ritual?
Coffee.
I can't drink coffee anymore.
What?
Yeah. I don't know. And actually what's interesting, I had a half a cup for the first time in months yesterday.
Oh no.
And I was doing some errands and all of a sudden I'm like, why do I feel so odd? But I've taken the last year to get ultra healthy. Like I work out every day.
I know you're doing the keto thing, right?
Keto. Yeah. I've been doing it pretty strictly for about 8 months. It's amazing.
Wow.
It's actually really cool.
That is cool.
As you get older, you got to figure out your recipe of what works.
Right. I actually I quit caffeine before I got pregnant because I had such a headache if I didn't have coffee. And I was like, I don't want to be so dependent on something.
Mm-hmm.
So I quit it for 4 years and it was great. Like no caffeine at all. But then my first job back, which was the show I did called Take Two, I had to start drinking caffeine because it was a two-hander, which is just, two people as the leads and you're in everything. And I had a 3-year-old there with me. And you know how that is. Acting like a 3-year-old. So I had to turn to caffeine. But it was green tea. And then anyway, this is a very fascinating, riveting story. But
No. I mean, I had to, when I started a ritual that no matter what time I work or have to be on camera, and normally that's about 7 a.m. or 7:30, I have to be up 4 hours before and I have to do cardio. Because as I was blessed with some good genetics, but as I got older, my body, you could see if I ate pasta or, these are all kind of vanity things. But when you have to be on camera first thing in the morning, also it's just mentally, I need that. That's my recipe. I need to be able to work out and wake up and be on for that. But
4 hours is a commitment.
I know. I would be on the treadmill at 3 a.m, 4 a.m. sometimes. But it's not necessarily for and like I said, it's just for mental.
I hear you. I started Pilates for the first time last year.
Did you really?
Yeah, and I've never had a routine. I wasn't one to really like work out, go to the gym, anything like that. But I started Pilates and I love it.
Really? Because my mom was a dance teacher, ballerina. Or she'll say, I was a ballet dancer. I have to correct myself. But she did Pilates in the 60s. So I've been doing it since the early 90s. I have a reformer.
You do?
I've been doing it for a long time.
I was tempted to get a reformer, but I just don't know if I'm disciplined enough to actually do it unless I have someone there making me.
Yeah. Well, you could have, house calls, or I could come, or you can come to my house and I bet you take you through it.
Oh my God, will you? I would love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, we have Matt Ramsey joining us today, everyone listening, who was one of our editors on the OC, who's just super cool. And we're so happy to have you. And Mindy, you want to give him a little introduction?
Yeah. So, Matt, welcome to the OC Bitches. We are super excited for our guest today. Matt Ramsey is an editor and producer. And if you watch TV at all, chances are this man's artistry has enhanced your experience. His hand has touched shows like Fastlane, Grey's Anatomy, Scandal, 13 Reasons Why, Looking for Alaska, Homecoming, and of course, The OC. Welcome, Matt Ramsey.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know.
I didn't know I was getting all that. That was very nice.
Oh, good. I'm having fun doing them.
Yeah, he's writing the intros and she's pretty awesome at it, I have to say.
Well,
Mindy.
Editors are so important in the storytelling and have such and it is such an art. So I'm really excited to talk about this episode 7, guys. It's this is called The Escape. The crew heads to Tijuana for a summer end trip where things take a dramatic turn. Jimmy finally tells Marissa he's moving out, and Sandy accepts a new job. And it was directed by Sanford Bookstaver and written by Josh Schwartz. So, Matt, tell us about yourself, things that we've never known. Like, where are you from? How you became an editor? What's your journey?
What is an editor?
What is an editor? There's a set and these great actors and actresses, and the script is filmed. And then all that footage is given to us, the editors, and then we put it together and work with the director and the writer and, make it look like the finished product. So that's the basic way of doing it. What's interesting is watching this last night, we shot on Super 16 film. So it's like all you kids out there watching this when you're watching on HBO Max and you're like, why is it kind of blurry and there's stuff flying across the screen? That's, we were still shooting on film back then.
Wow.
Didn't you start on 35 and then switch? Or did it switch to HD at some point? I thought it was...
Maybe the pilot was 35. I know the series was Super 16.
Oh, okay. Now I remember it being a big deal.
That's just what you call the film, right? For people who don't know, like what 35 and 6, what that is.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the film.
Yeah, so at the time, 35 was the best film, but we didn't use the best film. We used Super 16.
Like HD, I say, is for sports and nature, not for aging actresses. No. Like all of a sudden the camera sees better than what I see in person. No, just kidding.
Right. And then remember that backdrop at the pool house, which was just a fake ocean with little pieces of like tinfoil hanging on it. Like you'd never be able to get away with that with high def,
Right.
Never.
Am I exposing a secret? That wasn't a real pool house.
No, there's no secrets here. We definitely are transparent in all areas.
Right.
But I just think it's so interesting, the whole editing process. And, I'm still learning as I go, but you are really responsible. You put everything together. It's like a puzzle, or you can even like create performances. Like they'll be right. Because like when you do a scene and an actor or whatever does so many different takes, they do it so many different times, you can kind of construct something together to make it not suck.
Yeah, and then also sometimes the story changes in the editing room. Like what we thought was going to work in the script and what the actors all thought was the way a scene should play. It turns out like, oh, you know what? That doesn't make sense. And we have to like try and, change it and make it different. Sometimes rearranging the scenes from the original script and all kinds of good stuff like that. Yeah. But I was very young when I started the OC. Like that was my second or third editing job. I thought I was going to be very mortified to watch it last night.
Were you?
I wasn't. I was pleasantly surprised. I was like, oh, I did pretty good. I was doing good back then.
That's the reaction of most people. We asked that question. What was it like rewatching? And Peter, said, I was nervous. And I think we were all a little bit like, okay, did I overact? Oh, the makeup. But it holds up. I mean, some of the tan, as we always mention the tan, the makeup's a little much. But it's really, I think we all did such a wonderful job. Really.
Yeah. I honestly, and I'm not just saying this to like, kiss his butt or whatever, but I think Josh's scripts, were so well written. And honestly, from an editing standpoint, I noticed the pace of the acting and like everybody's performances and everything was so spot on. I noticed there's not a lot of the dialogue scenes. There's not tons of editing. Like sometimes like there's a scene with Sandy and Rachel and they walk to an elevator and it's just like mostly all in one shot,
Right.
And I think that is a lost art. A little, I mean, I'm just noticing in TV, not to disparage anyone, but it's like the rhythm and the pace sometimes has gotten lost, I think, and it forces us to edit more, That's
interesting because, I mean, if you're editing's so important to the storytelling, and if you're good, you don't notice it, and if you're, in some cases, you do. I mean, do you have this, like, how do you approach that? Are you you have to be technical and creative? You have to be both, right?
Yeah, I always try to, there's a phenomenal editor named Walter Murch who cut tons of phenomenal movies. Like he worked with Francis Ford Coppola and stuff. And most editors refer to him. He wrote a book about editing. And he always talked about like emotion and story and performance are the most important thing. And then like matching is like last. Because if you have everybody focused on emotion, story, and performance, you don't notice if their hand's up and then it's down or whatever, because you're focused on the show. And so in that way, it's not technical. But then sometimes the matching is so bad you notice it and it pulls you out of the show. So you have to like really focus on all that stuff too.
Is he the editor and that edited the shooting of the heads of the 5 family with the christening in The Godfather?
Yeah, I think number 2.
Because I
think that was Godfather Part 2.
Right. It was his idea to do that and ultimately told a much better story. And I remember hearing that story as a young person and identifying that with the true art of editing. Thank you for saying that. Yeah.
If we had Norman was the other editor, season 1, who was my mentor and a phenomenal guy. And, he gave me the Walter Murch book and taught me all that great stuff. So
we love Norman
Buckley. Yes.
Yes. Norman Buckley. And that's one of the things I remember about season 1 was like, it was all fun and we all like made such great friendships. And, I'm still friends with people I met on that show, 18 years ago or whenever it was.
That's
pretty
cool.
awesome.
Shopping for new clothing can be needlessly stressful. Stitch Fix makes it easy by doing the work for you so you can spend time doing the things you love instead.
I love shopping, but it can be time-consuming and tedious. But with Stitch Fix, I get sent clothing hand-selected by expert stylists for my unique size, style, and budget. I got this great shirt. I've gotten these pants. I mean, I'm rather short, so it's nice to have things hand-selected for my small body.
It's a completely different and fun way to find clothes that you will love to wear. Every piece is chosen for your fit and for your life, and it's easy. It's an easy solution to find what makes you look and feel your best. In my last box, I got these great high-waisted jeans and some pants. And you know what? The fit is so amazing, but they're so comfortable. I wore them all day long and I didn't sleep in them, but I did wear them all day long. It's a completely different and fun way to find clothes that you will love to wear. Every piece is chosen for your fit and your life, and it's the easy solution to finding what makes you look and feel your best. In my last box, I got this great pair of khaki pants and some high-waisted jeans. And not only did they fit amazing, but they were so comfortable. I wore them all day long. And also, I was so pleasantly surprised at how much I just love the items and the quality.
Try on pieces at home before you buy. Keep your favorites and send back the rest. Stitch Fix has free shipping, easy returns and exchanges, and a prepaid return envelope is included.
There's no subscription required. Try Stitch Fix once or set up automatic deliveries. You'll pay just a $20 styling fee for each box, which gets credited towards pieces you keep, and there are no hidden fees ever.
Stitch Fix has styles and clothing to fit any occasion for women, men, and kids. They ship all over the U.S. and are available in the U.K. as well.
Get started today at stitchfix.com/theOC, and you'll get 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. That's stitchfix.com/theOC for 25% off when you keep everything in your fix. stitchfix.com/theOC.
This episode is sponsored by Apostrophe, a prescription skincare company for people that are ready to take their acne seriously.
Prescription acne treatments really work, but it's hard to get. You have to take time off work to see a doctor, sit in line at the pharmacy for your medications.
Until Apostrophe. Apostrophe makes it easy to see a board-certified dermatologist online. You'll get treated immediately and your medications are delivered to your home.
Apostrophe treats acne, and they can also help you hit other skincare goals like reducing redness, wrinkles, and even dark spots. I filled out Apostrophe's online questionnaire about my skin concerns and medical history. Some of my concerns were dry skin, some rosacea, breakouts. So it was like, what's right for my skin today? Because it changes all the time. And then I took a few selfies and a dermatologist got back to me with a customized treatment plan tailored just for me.
Yeah, my skincare goals were, I'm noticing more lines and things like that. So I really wanted to treat that. And just I have dry skin. So something that would really work for my dry sensitive skin. And I love that it was a real board certified dermatologist who helped me and I didn't have to go to the pharmacy to get my prescription
Get $15 off your first visit with a board-certified dermatologist at apostrophe.com/TheOC and use our code TheOC. This code is only available to our listeners.
To get started, just go to apostrophe.com/TheOC and click Begin Visit. Then use the code TheOC at sign up and you'll get $15 off your dermatology visit. That's apostrophe.com/TheOC. And use that code, the OC, to get your dermatology visit for $15 off. And we thank Apostrophe for sponsoring the podcast.
So I have a quick question, though. Who was the most fun to edit, Mindy or Rachel?
Well, with this episode, it has to be Rachel because you're not in it.
Dang.
He can cheat this one.
No, I mean, because you did, like, I think, 30 plus episodes or something. Yeah, you guys did quite a. I mean, you did the whole series, didn't you?
I just did the first 3 seasons.
Okay.
My last episode, I killed Marissa.
Oh God.
And then I walked out the door.
And then you were out.
So
you were like,
you-
mic drop, and
you gave her a drug overdose and then you killed her.
yeah,
That's right.
You really were responsible for some
know.
moments there.
Now I'm going to people are going to look me up and like send me hate mail.
You did this. Well, I want to know. I want to know who like messed up their lines the most. I feel like who was the worst.
I don't, man. It's so hard to remember.
It was a long time ago.
Like, I know. I'm sorry, but just watching last night, I thought your performance, Rachel, was really great and like really fun. And
Thanks.
I felt like you had most of the lines in that episode.
Summer just didn't stop talking. Yeah, that's pretty on track.
Exactly. And then Adam was always fun to cut because he would do all these crazy ad libs.
Did he?
And
Yeah.
he did it all the time. And sometimes they made it in,
Do you remember if somebody? I seem to think that Kelly would get the giggles a lot, or was it? Do you remember who giggled the most?
I feel like
It seemed whenever Tate was on set, they were giggling. There was a lot of giggling happening.
We did an interview with him and we giggled a lot.
yeah.
He has that effect.
You know what? Actually, Ben McKenzie gave me a tip when we worked together because I would always lose it. I lose it very easily. And I would laugh or whatever. And Ben was like, Bilson, this is what I tell myself. And it makes me stop laughing. If you tell yourself it's so funny, you stop laughing. So to this day, when I'm doing a scene and I can't hold it together, I think of Ben telling me, just tell yourself it's so funny.
This is making
and then
me
it's
laugh.
not funny anymore. And you know what? It works. It's probably mind over matter or whatever, but it works. And I still use it to this day. So Benjamin McKenzie, thank you.
There you go. Acting tip.
101.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, do you remember the blooper reels? Did you put them together? Did Norman?
I think our assistant editors would put them together and then we would like oversee them a little.
Right.
But I do remember there being some pretty funny ones. There's one where, and I remember there's one where Tate passes gas. And after the rap party when it aired, because we enhanced the sound because it wasn't.
You're right.
But like after the rap party, he came in my edit bay and defended himself and said that was not what happened. And I was like, "You're rocking on your feet, and then you go ooh like that." And Kelly and Peter start laughing hysterically. I'm pretty sure I know what happened.
That's true. I mean, oh my gosh. Yeah.
That is awesome. Oh, man. Tate,
I'm going to get
Tate
blackballed.
Oh my gosh. I was never on a blooper reel.
You
I mean,
weren't?
every once in a while. My dad was on a soap for years, and he wasn't ever, in 40 years, he was never on a blooper reel. So I grew up with that. You don't fuck up. Sorry. And,
Right.
so every once in a while there'd be something, but it was like, I should be more funny. I should mess up more often. No.
That's funny because like your character had so many funny bits and stuff.
Yeah. I mean,
You're just so professional. We held it together.
You were there to work.
I was trying to be
You weren't wasting
professional.
the crew's time with all these jokes.
Although Peter, there were moments where we did lose it. Usually it would be with Peter and Tate, and because they would tell some joke, and you're right, it was always with the boys. And I'm sure, I think Adam made Ben laugh quite a bit.
Adam made everybody laugh quite a bit. And I think in all fairness, most of my scenes were, not most, but a lot were with Adam. And I was always laughing because he's hilarious.
Yeah.
It's all his fault. That's why I was on the blooper reel. It's all Brody's fault.
Have you guys watched the blooper reels? Can you watch them?
No, I would love to see them.
You can just find them on YouTube, I think, now.
Oh.
So, for everybody out there.
Were they on the
Easy
DVDs?
enough.
Maybe they were on the DVDs.
I bet.
Yes.
Probably.
I
right?
think so. But they've just been put out there on the YouTube
blooper
world.
reels are always more fun to me than the actual episodes.
Yeah.
I mean, certain ones anyway.
Josh took them very seriously, I think.
The blooper reels?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so
fun. It
fun.
was a thing.
Yeah,
it was.
For sure. Do you remember, did you have a favorite storyline that you edited? Or was there one that you enjoyed the most?
I remember, well, when I was asked about doing this, I was like, oh, I wonder what episode I'm going to get. And I was like, well, I cut the first Christmaka, which we've actually watched as a family a few times, around Christmas time. And yeah, my oldest daughter is a huge fan, is binge watching it for the third time.
Oh,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. She was born at the end of season 2. So it's really cool how and then when I found out I was doing 7, I was like, what was 7? And this episode was huge because it was our summer finale. Remember we had that weird
baseball
7 episode. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because of the baseball playoffs. And then when we came back, everybody thought Marissa was dead for 6 weeks of baseball. And we came back, and I feel like that's when the show took off, right?
It was already...
Was it already going?
This one had 8.8 million viewers.
It did?
Yeah. But I think actually... I'm sorry, I did little facts stick in my mind.
Is that good in network television?
It is. I think we got as high as about 12 or 13.
Yeah.
But I think our highest was, even a month or two right after. So, we premiered, I believe, something like that. But yeah, no.
So we were hit right from the beginning.
Yes, it was.
There you go.
That's why we're
Look
this
at us.
phenomenon that is the OC. That's why we're here today.
Right. Oh, but storylines, I have to say my favorite storyline was Matt Ramsey's storyline. There's a character named Matt Ramsey. Which I don't remember which season it is, 2 or 3.
It's
It's kind of a swarmy guy.
3.
It's 3.
It was 3.
I think it is season
Diana.
3.
So the original episode, the guy's name was Mark Fish, who is a writer on the OC.
Okay.
And right before they started shooting, Bob De Laurentiis said to Josh Schwartz, this is how this story was told to me, said, are we really going to have a character for 15 episodes named Mark Fish? And Josh said, how about Matt Ramsey? And then Bob said, I love Matt Ramsey. So one of the writer's assistants, they have their script program. I promise the story is going somewhere good. Their writer's assistant went into the script program and said, change wherever it says Fish to Ramsey, and Mark to Matt. And the opening scene was Ryan and Seth discussing going to college. And Seth says, how do you see me in college? A big Ramsey in a little pond or a little Ramsey in a big pond? Because the guy's name was Fish. And so,
That's really funny.
Ian Toyton, the director, thought that was on purpose. And so he came in, he's like, you're all through this episode. And I was like, it's supposed to be Fish.
That's hysterical. Just and it's a new Josh-ism that everyone has to accept.
Right.
Yeah, but
Right.
you're a big Ramsey.
Right. That one's Ian just accepts it. Okay, I get it. No problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was Ian, yeah.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
He's a little, called him my Richard Attenborough, my little mini
Yeah.
Richard Attenborough.
Remember him and Tony Warmby were like,
Womby.
Yep.
Mr.
Love.
it
Womby.
was like these old Englishmen.
Yeah.
were
I love them.
interacting.
I love them both so dearly.
I know.
They were
Yeah.
just the best presence on set, and just loved them.
I hope
They were
I
great.
hope
Yeah.
he stops by.
I hope they both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But this episode ends up being, I mean, there is a lot of humor, but this is a pretty serious episode.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay.
You want me to
To ruin the mood.
I think like watching it last night, I think my biggest, am I allowed to criticize the show? Even
Yeah.
my work. I mean, it's kind of my work.
Yeah.
It's just like with the way TV and films are made now, I wish there was less music, not the songs as much, but like the score. And and when we get to this serious moment with Marissa and even some of the songs, like there's a moment after she catches Luke at the rave, and then we cut back to her and she's in the hotel room alone. And for some stupid reason, we kept this song going like over her, and it's like, I'm out of control. I'm out of And I was like, I just wish she was sitting there in silence. You know, like she just found out her parents broke up.
Yeah.
You know, she just saw her boyfriend cheating on her and finding out that he cheats on her with everyone, you know.
So is that something an editor, like you could make that decision in the cutting room?
We had a lot of power on that show to like decide where the music started and stopped. And and this is where my criticism of myself would be that I even remember some of we have these meetings called spotting sessions where you sit down with sound and music people. And I remember some of those people saying, oh, there's too much music. You should pull this out. You should pull that. And I'd get all defensive because I was young and, you know, felt like someone was going to find out I shouldn't be there. So I had to defend my point. And I just wish I had listened to him more because I think, you know, it would have, at least in the long term of the life of the show, it's stuff maybe people don't even notice. But I'm like, oh, that moment would be better with no music. Or there's this random like Crab Shack scene with Rachel and Sandy, and there's like this score playing through the whole scene from beginning to end. And I was like, why? Why is that there? You know?
You're talking about the orchestration in the background, or not necessarily the songs, because I think, you know, I had a question about an episode at one point, and we asked Josh because he says that sometimes songs inspire scenes and vice versa. And I wanted to know if he'd written the song in an episode, and he said, no, I think Norman actually came up with it. So when we go throughout this, maybe because I knew we were talking to you and editing, I noticed a lot more of the music, and I was curious as we go through this episode what choices were yours, and also, you know, or are they preset, or is it temporary by you?
Right.
Those are some interesting things.
Yeah, Josh wrote a lot of songs in his scripts, and most of the time they worked because he's really good at that. And then also our music supervisor would send us these awesome CDs of like 15 songs, like twice a month. And it was like, and we were discovering, there was an explosion of all these really great new bands at that time. And, you know, it was just like a lot of fun. So we would, you know, go off of those CDs. You know, I'd go down to Josh's office. He'd be like, oh, have you heard this song? And then like, maybe it'd work for here or there, you know? And so it really was a cool collaborative effort, you know? It was a lot of fun to be a part of all that.
And in that way, I don't want to say manipulating the audience, but you're guiding the audience to feel what they're supposed to. I mean, if you're ever interested, you can. I remember taking a class, you know, music and film, and if you take sound away from Apocalypse Now, or if you take sound away from Indiana Jones or something, it's a completely different experience. So it's extremely powerful to have that right tone, right?
Yeah, and it's And that's what network TV kind of in that time period was like, you tell the audience what to feel a little bit with the music. And that's kind of what I was criticizing a little too, is like, I think now, I think it's better sometimes to let the audience have their own feeling. Like that moment I was talking about, Marissa sitting in the motel room by herself, or whatever it is. But, and then when you pick and choose the moment for when the music comes in or where the song starts, it has the big emotional impact, like what you're talking about, Melinda. It's like, it's a very like specific, sensitive thing. Like we have to be really careful with it. And I was not.
At the time.
I was careful. I just would like wall to wall it. It was like.
But everything's about experience, and you practice the same in your career today as well. I assume.
Yeah, I hope I never stop being critical of my own work and
Right.
like trying to become better. I think we should, never stop, or it's going to get boring. I have stopped a few times and I got lazy and I almost got fired a few times over it. So that wakes you up. Yeah.
You're like, okay.
Yeah.
But, before we actually get into the episode, the last question I had for you, it's a very, very important one. Who wound up on the cutting room floor the most?
That's a good question. I'm sorry, Rachel. I feel like these are all questions I could have answered 10 years ago.
Just say somebody, just say somebody
someone
for the fun of it.
I mean, it would probably have to be, the show skewed towards the kids, so we would probably cut down the adult storylines more. That's probably not a political thing to say, but it was like, or a fun thing. But since I'm dogging on Tate today, I'll just say Tate got cut out.
Let's just put it all on Tate.
Take it.
I haven't seen Tate in years. He's probably going to watch this.
He's the best. He's got the best sense of humor.
Sense of humor, yeah. But cutting the floor means you don't make the episode. Your part gets taken out.
Exactly.
Just to clarify. Yeah.
Maybe Melinda got cut out of this episode. That's why you're not in it.
But her presence was real. It was there. The scary mom.
That divorce.
Yeah.
That divorce was hanging over. I actually edited Tate's first episode he directed.
Really?
On the show.
My trailer park. Moving into the trailer park.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
I remember
I just remember there was a surf contest and Johnny got hit by a car chasing Ryan or Marissa. I don't remember who.
Yeah.
God, how many car things? There's a theme throughout this whole series.
It was a soap opera.
It was. Yes, it was.
Technically.
In a lot of ways.
On and off the screen. No, not for me. No, I'm just kidding.
No comment. Just kidding.
Melinda, do you always have the OC poster hanging?
I know, right? My house is a shrine. My house is a shrine to this. I trust me. I've definitely questioned. I'm like, should this be in every episode? I thought it would be cute for the fans of the show. My daughter was 3 when it started and 7 when it ended, and this just happened to be one of my favorite photo shoots. And everyone signed it to my daughter, Catherine Grace, CG.
I haven't asked you this yet, Mindy.
Adam wrote CG. What do you write? I want my scooter. He used to steal her scooter and down the hallway. And, and
I was going to ask you, what did I write? I haven't asked you that yet. Do you know?
You are my favorite. Can we hang out soon?
Aw. She was so cute.
So sweet.
God.
And then Ben wrote, I will always love you. But my daughter's 21 now. She's in Chicago. So,
That's awesome. You know what I remember too about this is that there was a outline. I don't know if Josh mentioned this. There was an outline after the pilot of like the first 7 episodes. And before I took the job, I mean, I was going to take the job no matter what, but they gave it to me like, hey, just read this over and make sure you're cool with it. And it pretty much stayed that way. Like these first 7 episodes, like almost follow that outline.
Really?
Wow.
And it was like months ahead of when they wrote the scripts. It was pretty amazing.
We asked Josh that because he said he wrote a Bible, and we asked if it changed or what was planned, and he said we'd have to ask Stephanie. when she.
I just remember like Ryan hooking up with Caleb's girlfriend was definitely in there in that Bible.
Well, that's stayed.
Yeah.
Well, let's go to TJ.
Let's go to TJ.
Let's go to TJ. I have to say really quickly, side note, I went to San Diego right after high school to a community college, but there was a dorm I could live in, and everyone went to TJ because it's so close. And we were so young, and there was this Martha's bus, like this woman, I don't know what her deal was, but she would bus down all these young kids to TJ for the night. And we basically did what you see them at the club doing. And like, I've never been more sick in my life because, basically what the scene shows is what I actually experienced. Just a little side note.
Oh, I mean,
Tijuana.
This episode, I grew up in Dana Point, South Orange County, and we would go to TJ at least once a month. We could go, and this was in the 80s, we could go with $10 in our pocket, park on the U.S. side, walk across the border, get in a cab for $1, get to Revolucion Street. And then we knew the little sidebars that would give you, if it was 1985, you could get an 85-cent Corona. Next year, it was an 86-cent Corona, and then 87-cent Corona. And then we get the Al Pastor tacos on the street for 50 cents. And I could come back, and then, go out, drink tequila, and come back. Oh, and many of my friends got arrested for improper. And then you have to bail them out. So this,
oh my God.
This was exactly the way my teenage years were.
It didn't change,
awesome.
apparently, when you were there, when I was there, and then when we were there on the OC. Except we were on the Universal backlot. But anyways.
Oh, I wanted to know where it was.
I was about to ask where it was. It was
Universal.
Universal.
It was not actually Mexico. We were on the Universal Studios backlot to make it look like Mexico. My one of my younger sisters, who is now 19, was 1.5, and I remember she visited us, Hattie, that night we were filming at Universal. She was a baby. Anyway, that was like very eye-opening. Like, I'm so old. But yeah, it was not Tijuana at all. But I thought, they did a really great job.
It was a lot of set design.
A lot of set design for TJ.
But the sign says improper behavior puts you in jail. And that's true. It's a racket. You arrest kids for being drunk, and then you go and they, you got to pull all your money to get them out. Happened multiple times, not to me.
I've never been. I grew up on the East Coast.
Well, there you go. Tijuana not so popular when you're on the East Coast. Not as easy to get to.
Nope.
So we have one of our classic Coen kitchen scenes. A lot of episodes start in the kitchen and breakfast.
Right.
And Seth is a very classic Seth scene, trying to convince Ryan to go to Tijuana. And of course, Ryan's hesitant to go. And then he talks about going to Comic-Con. Obviously, he's got a cover. Was this the first time Comic-Con was talked about in a show? It's so popular now, right? I don't know.
That's a good question. I was wondering that too. Like, was it that popular then?
Because it started in a basement or, somebody's living room like 30 plus years ago, I think. And then, so.
Pretty big today.
Yeah, this show is responsible for a lot of culture in this way. Of course, he ends the scene saying, "Did you mean mañana?" So they're going to go to Tijuana.
Seth, yes. Yep, sets up. Tijuana, because it's the last weekend before school starts, right? So that's the tradition that the kids all make their way. And then, there's the scene where Summer and Marissa, they're talking about, Marissa lost her virginity the episode before. Big deal.
Right.
I was so embarrassed by myself in this scene.
With the giddy up, with the giddy up.
Where I'm like, you gotta giddy up. And I do the whole thing. And I'm like, 21-year-old me. Okay.
Wait, but that was
cut to the wide to see the whole thing.
Thanks for that.
You're welcome.
That was very Rachel, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Sure. Yes. That was probably my input, adding the moves. But Yes. Still not any less embarrassing.
It felt like you were laughing at yourself in that moment.
I always laugh at myself. I think that's one thing I'm okay with. Like, I can make an ass of myself and I'm okay with it. I've never been a fan of shaving. It's just one more thing to do and my skin's really sensitive.
I agree, but I am a shaver. I'm definitely not a waxer, but I'm actually enjoying shaving with Billie.
Meet Billie, the best razor out there for those days when you want an extra smooth shave. No pink tax, no visit to the drugstore, no breaking the bank.
You can go to mybillie.com to get their starter kit for just $9. It's so affordable and includes their award-winning razor, 2 refill blades, and a cult favorite magnetic holder. Yes, I've always been a shaver. I mean, like I said, even if you wax, you still have to shave from time to time, but I adore this razor. It's such a simple thing to love, but it really makes it different. And the shaving cream is just amazing. It makes my skin so soft. I'm very, very satisfied after a shower shave.
We know Billie has converted me to a shaver because I was an avid waxer. But after finding Billie and using it, I now don't only have to wax. It's really nice. To express a little love for our show, go to mybillie.com/OC. It's a small way you can support us while getting the best razor you will ever own.
It's just $9 to get your starter kit plus free shipping always. Go to mybillie.com/OC, spelled my, BILLIE.com/OC.
Real talk. If you don't love your hair, then you need to break up with your current hair care routine right now. It's time to try Function of Beauty instead.
Function of Beauty is the world leader in customizable beauty, offering precise formulations for your hair's specific needs.
Here's how to get started. First, take a quick but thorough quiz to tell them a little about your hair type and your hair goals, such as lengthening, volumize, and oil control. My hair goals, my hair is always so frizzy. I don't know what it is, but I've always had that problem. But, it changes with the season. You can change your hair goals before every shipment. It's winter, well, your hair's dry. You can change it. Summer, it's frizzy. You can change it.
And then next you choose your color and the fragrance, or go fragrance and dye free. And then Function's team determines the perfect blend of ingredients, bottles your formula, and delivers it right to you. I love this shampoo and conditioner. And I think I've told our listeners before, I named it Coop after Cooper. And I chose this beautiful blue color, and it's grapefruit mango fragrance. And I actually look forward to washing my hair.
There are over 54 trillion possible formulations, and Function of Beauty has over 50,000 5-star reviews. And Function of Beauty offers completely personalized formulas for body and skincare as well. So you can customize your beauty routine from hair to toe.
Never buy off the shelf just to be disappointed ever again. Go to functionofbeauty.com/OC to take your quiz and save 20% on your first order. That applies to their full range of customized hair, skin, and body products. Go to functionofbeauty.com/OC to let them know we sent you and to get 20% off your order. Functionofbeauty.com/OC. So the pool house, Seth, he brings in the sombrero.
Right.
But he's encouraging Ryan to talk, which is another Brody-ism, or I just, or Seth, where he's like, come on, he pats the bed. Come sit, talk.
Right. That was very funny.
It's very cute. But I think a big theme in this episode is just how much Marissa's life is falling apart. But because of Jimmy is on the phone, he can't get an apartment. But it's a really funny exchange where he's so distracted. Like, you're going to Palm Springs? No, Tijuana. Like, Seth has to lie to his parents, but Marissa doesn't. Yeah. And he's like, yeah, Luke's great. He's a great kid, right? Right, Summer. She's like, shut. Yeah. This sassy Summer, like, something's off about the dad. I think Summer's just super, she's got great observations. She's much smarter than she's portraying.
She shares them frequently.
I picked up on that, the 2 different parenting styles too. Like, Seth has to lie to his parents, but Summer and Marissa are just, and I was like, well, this is definitely Josh, who I'm guessing he had to lie to his parents.
Oh,
I've never
sure.
met his parents, but
Steve Schwartz, Honey and Steve Schwartz. I don't think he could be like, "Hey, I'm going to Tijuana." No, I mean, maybe he could. Maybe he could. But he also, he was from the East Coast, so it was not an option for him.
That is true.
Atlantic
I guess
City,
they would
maybe?
go to Boston, maybe.
Yeah.
We're going to downtown Providence, Mom and Dad.
We're getting crazy. The other things going on in this episode is we meet Rachel, played by Bonnie Somerville, for the first time, right? In this one?
Right.
Yeah.
This is her first.
And it's like, uh-oh, here we go.
Yep.
Sandy.
And then at the same time, Kirsten and Jimmy are.
Oh, is this the one where they kiss?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh,
so
yeah.
I know. I'm the worst. I go all over the place. Forgive me. I get excited. But yes, that also is unfolding. There's a lot. There's a lot here, you guys.
It's a jam-packed episode.
It is a jam-packed episode. And it needed to be, because like we said before, it was a cliffhanger. So we needed people to want to tune in when we came back on the air.
Exactly.
Talking about music and another thing that's going on at Luke's house, Marissa and Luke are making out, but this music was so bow, 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 bow.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh my God. It was probably score. Was it a song or score? I don't even remember.
I think it was a
It's
score.
not good. I was, yeah, I'm not going to say much about how I feel about the score, but I guess I just did. Bob De Laurentiis used to come in and say, "This sounds like Weather Channel music."
Oh.
Which is pretty bad. But anyways, it sticks in my head now every time I hear certain
That it's that
cues.
kind
I'm
of
like, oh, that's the
tinkling.
weather.
It's that kind of tinkling, din, 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 or something. But this episode or this scene had that.
That's weird.
But it had porn music, is what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh no. I'm sorry. I'm sorry to everyone who has to watch this episode if I had anything to do with that or didn't stop it from happening. But what I noticed in this scene, and I actually remember editing it and coming up with this concept. I don't know if Sandy had shot it this way, but then it kind of grossed me out at the moment, is it starts in these extreme close-ups of them making out. They're like really close
Right.
on
You're
their
like
faces and
in
mouths.
their mouth with them.
Yeah. And I was like, last night, I was like, I don't want to see that. But as the scene goes on and Luke's not getting what he wants, which is to have sex with Marissa, and Marissa's trying to connect with him on an emotional level, the shots get wider and wider, ending in a wider shot. So I was like, oh, I actually remember sitting down thinking that's how I'm going to cut the scene. I don't know why I remember that. But
Wow.
So because the director, they get a wide, they get a close, they cover what's called covering the scene.
Right.
And in television, you get the first pass at it as an editor?
Correct. Yeah. And now Sandy might have
Sandy,
designed
the
it that
director,
way.
by the way.
Sandy, the director, yeah, Sanford Booksaver, who I thought did a phenomenal job on this episode. Like rewatching it, I was like, it has this, and I might be like overstating it, but it has a little bit of a David O. Russell feel to it that I wasn't expecting. Like it's a little handheldy, it's a little loosey goosey.
Yeah.
A lot of following people around,
Yeah, I thought the directing was really good in this episode. And I loved Sandy. I mean, he was so cool. Do you remember? He was
Oh, yeah.
He was awesome. He was married to an actress.
Lena Sofer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
But you make a point,
great.
and it's just another way to enhance the idea that this is such a collaborative process. The actors do their thing, the directors do their thing, and then you put it all together in a pretty little package and with a pretty little bow. And but every editor might have their different styles, right?
Yeah. And I think on a television show, it's important for the editors to all get along and collaborate. So it doesn't feel like a different show every week, like that the performances are consistent and the way the show is edited, like whether it's like I cut the pilot of Scandal and that had like 3 times the number of edits that an episode of the OC probably had. So every editor after that had to do that, where the OC was, we kept it a little more simple and clean and,
Did you and Norman trade off? Like,
Yeah, we did every other. That was when you said I had done like 30 plus episodes. That's because we only had 2 editors season 1. Usually you have 3. I don't remember exactly how that happened, but I was working a lot. We were there a lot.
Right.
Yeah.
Editing constantly. So, it was just me and Norman.
Wow.
Season 1.
There's one thing I wanted to say. I don't know if it was in the first scene, but it's at the beginning where Seth says, what happens in Mexico stays in Mexico. And I wondered because Laguna Beach, which was a reality show that came after, we had been on, and it was like known that it kind of came from our show, I think.
Because it was called The Real OC, right?
Right. It's called The Real Orange County. Yeah. So yes. And Kristen Cavallari on the show, I think she goes like, what happens in Cabo stays in Cabo. And that was like one of the more famous lines from Laguna Beach. And I was like, wait a second.
Yeah.
I was wondering if there was any tie.
Knowing Josh,
I mean,
it's a yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Anyway, I noticed that and I clocked it because I always remember that line from Laguna Beach. And I was like, interesting. Anyway.
So would you guys watch Laguna Beach? Would y'all get together and be like...
I did not.
I feel like I remember Misha like seeing them on a cover of a magazine and she was like, wait, is this like supposed to be us? Like what? Like what is this exactly?
Right.
Just like we didn't know if the show was, we didn't know.
Right.
I didn't watch it. I mean, I guess I had seen some of it because it was like everywhere and popular.
Right.
Yes, right.
Well, why don't we jump to you guys, or to you guys, because I wasn't there, but you guys are actually leaving for the trip.
Yeah.
It's kind of a funny Sandy overprotective parent as the boys are walking out, thinking they're going to Comic-Con. And Summer in the driveway, I got to say, that outfit was mini
man.
Julie Cooper to me. She's like, she's got this on. And then Sandy's always like, I don't know. It's always like making that little like, Summer's hot.
I know, it's so embarrassing. He's always salting his game.
Yep.
Like the pilot.
Seth had a really funny quip there. I wish I could remember it. Do you remember it? When
What
he
did he
says
say?
that, wow, Summer's hot. And then he's like...
And you just ruined
and,
it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you just, or something. Yeah.
And now, something.
I think this might be the most ooze from Summer that I've seen in an episode, and there was an drinking game. So I think
Ew. There was we were like in some motel, and I'm like, do we have to pay extra for the pubes? Sorry, I know we'll get there, but on the way to Tijuana, you start to really see the banter with Seth and Summer. I mean, Summer's so annoying. Like in the car, I was like, oh my god, what a high maintenance pain in the butt. But this episode really starts their banter, which was fun.
Did you guys actually talk like that in real life? Did
we banter like that?
Did you ever get to a banter?
Mindy, I mean, that was 18 years ago. I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you real life.
Not in the summertime, but I don't know if you
call
guys
out his grandpa driving in his like old man Mercedes, probably.
And his Jufro. He keeps talking about his hair, and it seems to be a theme throughout the OC. His hair issues with humidity.
Did he do that in real life?
I don't
Is that
know.
what you're asking?
No. I'm.
You're just saying that he
It's
commented on his hair.
in that scene in the car because you go, my hair's totally frizzing. I look like Howard Stern, and then Seth said something like, "I actually think the humidity is good for my Jufro."
Yeah.
And then you're like, "You're Jewish?"
Yeah.
I'm
No,
not
I
even
laughed.
kidding.
I laughed at that. I was like, oh my God. Oh, jeez.
Stuff you couldn't do nowadays.
No, don't think so.
Not to go back a little, but there is a whole fun setup in this episode about Seth wanting to go with Summer, Ryan not wanting to see Marissa, and then Seth's diabolical plan of them all ending up in the car together. And you see it, it's, solid comedy right there when they all have to get in the car and drive off together.
Yeah, it was really fun to watch. Just, the beginning of the foursome or whatever. But
yeah.
And then, we fight, the car breaks down, we have to stay in that pretty
disgusting,
interesting motel, pubes on the comforter, the whole 9 yards. It was super
Is that the
special.
first and only time you've had to say pubes? on
I think
camera?
so. It was the debut and the end of the
pubes.
But we've made a point that Seth is starting to stand up to Summer in these past few episodes.
Well, because she's annoying. I was annoyed with her. But, it's also, and just talking about Seth and Summer, the breakfast episode of the next morning where that dynamic, like they're an old married couple, sharing the food and the coffee. And I remember actually shooting that scene in like San Pedro or something, and the rage blackouts that Summer suffers from rage blackouts. Like that whole scene, it's like very like pivotal, and I remember it. And, you're just really establishing the connection between these two.
Yeah. And that theme definitely carried through.
Yes. But also the Ryan and Marissa, when they're at the vending machine at night, and this killed me when, she chose Luke and they're talking about it. And she's like, well, do you ever wonder why I came to the pool house that night? And he says, every day. And the way Ryan says it, I was like, I kiss him. Like, I was just so, it was so just like, I felt it.
Yeah, he's really good in that scene. And he's got this like anger about it and hurt, and it's so good, that scene. And the scene on the bed later when she comes in after finding out that her parents are getting divorced.
I know. And I'm like,
it's
hold
so sad.
her. And I remember thinking like, dude, hold her. But then they wake up and he's holding her when they wake up. I was like, okay, you did good. You did the right thing.
That is a really powerful scene. And from an editing point of view, I was curious, like, what is more powerful to have is it the dialogue or the reaction? Because I noticed it goes back and forth. And what is your intuition in that?
It's interesting because I was thinking about that during that scene too. Because when Marissa's on the phone with her dad, there's a lot of shots of Ryan listening and seeing how that's impacted on him. And it's not out on Marissa much when she's finding out that her parents are getting divorced. And I can't remember if it was scripted that way because you only hear bits of the conversation. But I thought what was cool about it is when she does come in the room and you see that she's devastated and she's trying to hide it from him. Like she has her back to him and she knows he knows. It just was more powerful than if you had already seen her fall apart outside. Like that moment wouldn't have meant as much, I don't think.
Right.
And it's funny you brought that up, Melinda, because I was like, when I was watching it last night, I was like, wow, I'm on Ryan a lot here. And she's finding out this big, important information. And then I saw the bed scene. I was like, well, I hope that was the reason I did it. But,
Well, knowing that we were going to talk to you, I was specifically looking at the editing and the music and, actors, we look at how we look, and script supervisors look if the tie's moved, we all look at whatever our speciality is, right?
Speaking of music, we skipped over a very important moment in OC history. The first Death Cab for Cutie song ever played on the OC was in the car.
Right, one guitar and a whole lot of complaining. I believe
there you go.
Was my reaction to Death Cab. But you're right, that's the introduction to Death Cab.
And if Josh might dispute this, but from what I remember, Adam was a huge Death Cab fan.
You're right.
And he introduced us all to Death Cab. And Josh wrote it in the script for him because Adam was like, this is my favorite Death Cab song. And Josh put it in the script. And that's how it ended up in the show.
Accurate.
And then they became the OC band.
You are correct.
So in the motel room, Summer, you're wearing a very sexy PJs.
By the way, I'm like, who packs this?
Right?
I mean, yes.
And then who puts it on?
Yeah, and by the way, I'm still wearing platform wedges when I walk out of the bathroom in my nightie. It's just how Summer rolls. She's going to TJ. You never know.
Yeah.
Who has a negligee and platform wedges to wear to bed.
She was like, I thought I was going to find a man in Tijuana at the club.
And
this is what I brought to sleep in.
I'm shocked that Seth maintains being not a gentleman after that outfit, but
he's so annoyed with her, he does not give a crap.
Yeah. He's coming.
He does shift in a certain funny way when you first walk out of the covers like himself a little, which I'm sure was just Adam's like comedy, genius.
So in TJ, they're at the club. Marissa finds out her parents are getting divorced. She goes to let loose. And what does she find?
Holly and Luke going at it.
Holly and Luke.
That was a very realistic club, by the way, for Tijuana.
Yeah, that's what I said. It was like how it was in TJ.
That was very cool. I was surprised how much I liked the way that scene was cut. I don't know if I'll toot my own horn, but it's like on the reveal, I was expecting just like one shot, like the crowd would part and there they would be. But it like goes into this like crazy music video kind of, you see like his hands on her butt and it's like this very visceral, interesting moment. I don't know. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know I did that.
I
was surprised.
I wrote big scene to edit. How long does it take to edit a scene like that with so many extras? And I mean, it looked like a huge club. And
yeah, it probably did take a while. Like definitely those big scenes. There's a show I'm working on right now, and I'm working on this like massive end of the season scene that's like, it feels like it's one scene, but it's like 40 scenes long in the script, but it's all one thing. And I've been working on it for days. And I don't know when I'll finish. Like,
what show is that?
It's called Heels. It's going to be on Stars.
Oh, cool.
It's about like an independent wrestling league in the South or something.
Oh, I know what that, yeah.
Anyways.
Sorry. Yes.
But so it's definitely harder to cut those big scenes like that with lots of people.
Yeah, it was a lot going on. But so she catches them. I love how Summer, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but how Summer stands up to Holly and is like, she pushes her. She straight like checks her. And I was like, ooh, yep, that's a best friend. But anyway, so that just sucked. And then I love that Ryan stands up for Marissa too, and he punches Luke, which everyone wanted to do in that moment. So thank you, Ryan.
Yep.
But yeah,
I also loved, what was Holly's line? Like, he cheats on you with everyone. Just ask all the girls at UCI or something.
Modern day. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the Orange County schools.
She's like, I'm just honest or whatever.
Yeah. That's
right. Freshman from Modern Day.
I'm just honest. That's a good line too.
Yep. But this is obviously the beginning of the end, so to speak.
And Josh had a different, I think that's a Chemical Brothers song in the club. And he had a different song, Chemical Brothers song in the script that was in there right up until the end. And then there was like a spoken word sample in the song and it couldn't clear. They couldn't clear that part of the song for some reason. And so we had to switch it out at the last minute. That's what I remember. It was a lot of drama in the editing room when all that happens.
Right. You get married to what you want, right?
Right.
And how you see it. And this is my creation. This is my piece of art. And I don't see it with any other song.
It was like cut to the beat and the rhythm of the scene and building up. And then it was like, wait, what?
Yeah. So felt out of sync or in some way.
Yeah, but no, I think that song, we must have found a song that had a similar rhythm or.
Isn't that the song Out of Control?
Yeah.
Isn't it what it is?
Yeah.
That whole sequence?
That's what ended up. Yeah. And it works great.
Right. So the way it's shot, when Marissa, obviously, she goes and she takes the painkillers. By the way, all Summer's fault. Like, Summer's really responsible for a lot of this. Like, the pressure to go to TJ, leaving the pills, like spilling out of her purse, the whole thing. Yeah. It's all Summer's fault.
That was a sad scene.
It is.
I have no one.
Dude, when I was watching it and Misha's doing, where she overdoses, she's so good. Like, so committed, and the way it was shot and everything else, I watched it a few times because I was like, wow, like, how did you edit this? And it looks so like drug oriented, and Misha was so committed, and the whole thing just really worked. But I was curious, like, what it was like for you.
I remember Josh, this is all Josh. He had this vision in his head how that scene should be. And there's a sequence in Vanilla Sky, the Tom Cruise version, which I think is a remake of a foreign film. And he played me the sequence down in his office. And he was like, I want this sequence to feel like that.
When she's in the bar and she sees the shady guys, it starts with that extremely eerie music with the guy speaking. And I tried to figure out what it was. And then you ended up mixing in with some like Tijuana music.
Yeah.
Was that you? Was that?
Yeah. So that was the idea off of Vanilla Sky. So like, I think I got some, Mexican music and mariachi music. And then I had the composer score the whole scene. And then we had that song. And then I remember this taking days, and I was just constantly like, where do I want this to pop through? Where does that, where does the score kick in for a second? And we just messed with it over and over. And then when we did the final sound mix, we just kept messing with it even more, like right up to the end. But it was really complicated. But that song came from, that was Norman's suggestion. And I think it plays in the background of a scene in the movie Traffic. I think that's where he had heard it and was like, why don't you try this? And I was like, okay. And then it worked really cool.
Yeah. I cried last night watching it.
I cried too.
I did. I mean, it's very sad.
I know.
It is.
He lifts her up and you don't know if she's, and then the Mazzy Star song again, Into Dust. And you're just like, oh, well, okay. Here come the waterworks.
When was that's not the first time that song was used, right?
No, it was in the pilot where he carries her.
When he carries her and she's drunk.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's a callback to that. Yeah. Well, anyway, so Matt, this has been so fun talking to you about this. Like, just like such an interesting perspective and just really cool to hear from the editor's point of view. But we want to ask you some quiz questions.
Oh boy. The fun part of the podcast.
Yeah. Let's see how you do.
Okay.
What did Marissa choose from the vending machine?
Cheese sticks.
Nice.
Nice.
She said ding dongs were gross. And I am totally against that opinion. I love ding dongs.
Ding dongs, you can't go wrong.
Santa Claus brought them to me in my stocking every year.
Ding dongs?
Yeah.
Aw.
When I was growing up in the 80s, you just got ding dongs in your lunch.
Yeah.
We just ate bad food all the time.
Right.
Of course. Ding dongs,
Twinkies.
Coke, and a peanut butter. Yeah, Twinkies.
Little Debbie's.
Remember the Weird Al Yankovic music video for Fat? There's a guy at the beginning. He goes, ding dong, man, ding dong. Like he's trying to get him to eat. It's stuck in my head when I was 7.
I do not.
I don't remember that.
It's pretty great.
No.
I'm gonna ask you another question.
Okay, sorry.
Ding dong.
Just cut out the editor. Cut him down. Who ended up on the floor the most on the OC Bitches podcast? The editor.
What does Seth say he needs from the pharmacy in TJ?
Antihistamine.
Oh, gosh.
I'm on fire right now.
You are killing it. Killing it.
Because there's another episode where they're going on a trip and he wants to take his humidifier. What was that?
Palm Springs.
Yeah, that was in the Palm
links.
Springs,
Palm
which we
Springs.
get into later. Yes.
Okay.
He needs, he's got a lot of nasal issues.
How many times do Ryan and Seth hug throughout the entire series?
Wow. The entire series? Twice? I have no idea.
Holy crap.
That was just a random guess.
That was great.
Who counted that?
Not I.
Diana, our
producer,
possibly?
who also wants to know if you can edit this podcast. Please, because we need a lot this one, apparently. Oh, man. This was so much fun.
So, yeah, only twice. Picking up where we left off. Let's listen to a voicemail, a question about the episode.
Okay.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Melinda. My name is Cammie. Big fan of the show and you guys. I wanted to get your thoughts on Marissa on this episode, episode 7, The Escape. Do you think she had a right to be annoyed at Ryan because of what happened at Caleb's party in the last episode? Thank you.
I mean, she did show up to the party with Luke, so what was Ryan supposed to do?
I think
know.
logically she's saying, why should I care? I don't care. But she does because they're in love. Gabriella has decided that they're in love and she's the authority. But I think, she's realizing, she's realizing that it bothers her because that she does have such strong feelings, even though she shouldn't have those feelings, right?
Yeah, so I guess I don't know that I would say she had the right necessarily because she did show up with Luke. So that's an interesting point.
That scene at the vending machine to me was one of my favorite scenes between them. It was real. They were, they're frustrated with each other. Where's this going? I mean, this world of drama, and I don't know. I mean, I buy it. I buy the OC. I mean, whether it's heightened operatic soap or comedy, I buy it. I like the ride.
And doesn't Ryan also call her out and is like, have you ever heard of knocking or something?
Yeah.
Right?
That's true.
Yeah.
It's like, what about you? Well, what about you?
They have that really great scene in the, is it the Crab Shack? What's the restaurant? When they run into each other. That's like really funny too. Like their comedy always came out of like edginess and
right.
Where you don't expect it and they like snip at each other really fast and walk away,
Fine.
Yeah.
Fine. See ya.
Exactly.
Which is kind of what teenagers or young people or immature, I guess.
Yeah.
People might do.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, guys.
Anyway.
This has been a great trip to TJ together.
What a joy it's been to reconnect with you. And thank you so much for coming on our little podcast. And we're having a ball. And guests like you make it even better. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me. It's so great to see you both again. And
you too.
Good luck with everything.
Thanks. This was so much fun. Thank you.
All right. You're welcome.
Bye.
Well, follow, rate, and review. Welcome to the OC Bitches, wherever you listen to your podcasts. If you like to watch us, check it out on YouTube.
Thanks for joining, guys. We will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.